Bypassing the forced Microsoft account sign-in on Windows is a hot topic right now and will probably continue to be for years to come. While signing in with a Microsoft account on Windows can have some benefits, I prefer not to use one and I use a local account instead. And there are specific reasons for that which I want to explain to you in this video. Now, most of you will probably think that it's due to privacy reasons and tracking activity and so on, and while that is a concern, it's actually not my main reason for not signing in with a Microsoft account on Windows. But before I get into that, I need to explain something to you. There's a big difference between using a Microsoft account to sign into Windows on your computer and using a Microsoft account to sign in and use Microsoft apps on your computer, like Office 365 and the Microsoft Store, for example. Signing into Windows with a Microsoft account means the entire computer is registered and synced to the Microsoft account or OneDrive, and you're signed into the Microsoft apps automatically using that account. On the other hand, using a local account on Windows and only signing into the Microsoft apps that require a sign-in like Office, Xbox, and maybe the Microsoft Store means you give Microsoft less control over your computer. You see, the moment you sign in with a Microsoft account on Windows during the setup process, like you can see on screen now, two things happen. The first is that it immediately enables BitLocker drive encryption if you have a modern computer, and then it encrypts all of the files on that computer. Now, some of you might say that's a good thing because it helps protect your data. For example, if your laptop is stolen, then there's no access to your data because you need the BitLocker recovery key to unlock the drive. That is true, assuming you have the laptop password protected too, but the issue with this is most people don't know that their data is being encrypted and they don't know that they even have a BitLocker recovery key. This makes it particularly annoying for technicians working in computer support for home and small office users. Picture this: you're a support technician who gets a call from someone who might have set up their computer themselves or even had someone else do it that they can't reach anymore, and their computer completely crashed and they have no backups. Now you need to help them recover their data from the BitLocker encrypted drive, but the client has no idea what a BitLocker is. They say they don't have a Microsoft account and they've never used a password. This happens more than you think, and I know you also think people make backups of their data. They don't. And when the crisis hits, it's the technician's job to work some magic. And they're technicians, not magicians. Now, you can recover the BitLocker recovery key by accessing the Microsoft account that was used to sign in on that specific computer from another computer or your phone, for example. But again, most people don't know this, or they don't even know that they have a Microsoft account to begin with. So the support technician will have to do some great work trying to figure all of this out, or the client has lost all of their data. Now, I have covered some of this before in another video that I made about BitLocker drive encryption, and I'll link that video in the description below if you want to check it out. But the second thing that happens is that OneDrive sync is automatically enabled, meaning all of the files that you save on that computer is automatically being uploaded to OneDrive and it's not saved locally. Now, that also gives you another method of recovering the data from the BitLocker encrypted drive, assuming you can get access to the Microsoft account and that the latest files are actually saved on OneDrive. With OneDrive, by default, the files you see on the computer are just links to the files that's saved online, unless you choose to always make a copy of the files available offline. Why do I have a problem with this? Well, apart from the fact that you then always need to be connected to the internet to download and view your files, the free plan of OneDrive only gives you 5 gigs of storage. Then you either need to buy more storage or pay a yearly fee for Microsoft 365, which includes 1 terabyte of storage. Now, if this is a new computer that you're setting up for the first time and you don't have a lot of data to begin with, that probably won't bother you all too much. But if you have an existing computer which might have more data, let's just say 20 gigs for example, and you sign in with a Microsoft account and you're prompted to back up your files, it'll start to upload all of the files on that computer to OneDrive and then prompt you to buy more storage because you're at risk of losing your data. Funny how they do that, eh? But don't just blame Microsoft for this. Google does the same thing by automatically uploading all of the photos and videos on your Android phone to Google Drive and then prompt you to buy more storage. But that's a topic for another video. When it comes to paying for cloud storage, I would rather suggest that you use something like Proton Drive, which focuses on privacy and isn't as disruptive as OneDrive. This video is not sponsored by them, but I am a Proton affiliate. So if you're interested in Proton Drive, you can get it from the first link in the description and it helps out this channel too. Anyway, something even more frustrating for me when it comes to OneDrive is that it physically changes the location of the files on your computer when OneDrive is enabled. So if you didn't know, This is what a user account's folder structure will typically look like on Windows. It's located on the C drive under the users folder and then your username. Inside it, you have folders like desktop, documents, pictures, and so on, and those are the folders where most of your data is saved. What happens when OneDrive is enabled is it physically moves those folders inside the OneDrive folder here so that they are continuously synced. This completely breaks file paths that certain programs rely on. So one very annoying instance of this happening is with Outlook Classic. One of the default save locations for the Outlook data files is inside the Documents folder of the user account. So inside the Documents folder, you'll find an Outlook files folder, and then inside of that, you'll find the Outlook data files. When OneDrive Sync is enabled on a computer where you already had Outlook set up and working, it breaks Outlook because it moves the files to another location. So the next time you open Outlook, you'll see this wonderful message saying that the file is missing, and then you have the option of selecting the new location of the file. The great thing is, even if you select the new location where the missing file is saved, Outlook still won't work. You'll constantly have send and receive errors. So at this point, you have to reconfigure the entire Outlook profile to either use the new file locations in the OneDrive folder, which I don't recommend because then you'll have OneDrive constantly trying to sync large files and constantly have these file in use issues. The other alternative I prefer using is moving the Outlook files folder to another location on the computer, like the C drive for example, or just the root of your user profiles folder, because OneDrive doesn't sync that by default. Doing that at least ensures that the OneDrive sync won't interfere with the Outlook files, but then you'll have to manually copy these Outlook files to the OneDrive folder every once in a while to create a backup of them. That is assuming you want to use OneDrive. What I would rather do is copy these Outlook files and other important files to an external drive or other form of backup media, whether that is offline storage or online storage like Proton Drive I mentioned earlier. Now, when it comes to the privacy reasons, like I mentioned at the start of the video, that isn't really my main concern, and here's why. Complete privacy is an illusion in today's day and age. If you're connected to the internet, whether that be on your phone, a Windows computer, or even Linux, you are being tracked. Big Brother knows about you, regardless of what you think. I will say, signing in with a Microsoft account on Windows does make it easier for Microsoft to track your activity and show you personalized ads and all of those things. But whether you're using a Microsoft account or a local account on Windows, you still have access to these privacy settings in Windows that you can change to your preferences. So in my opinion, it doesn't really matter from a privacy point of view. But if you disagree, let me know about it in the comments of this video. Now, another thing that could potentially be a problem when signing in with a Microsoft account on Windows is in the event that you don't have internet access and you need to sign into the account on your computer. I have seen cases where people couldn't get access to their computer because the password couldn't be verified on the Microsoft account because they're not connected to the internet. Now, this doesn't happen all the time, but I have seen it before. I've also seen cases where people couldn't get their Microsoft account password reset in case they forgot it, like the account was just blocked and Microsoft wasn't helpful at all in getting the account unlocked. And that then means these people are completely locked out of their computers. Now, if the drive isn't BitLocker encrypted, you can use password recovery tools to just convert that account to a local account and remove the password, so at least the user can get access back to their computer. And I have a password reset video on this channel, which I'll also link in the description of this video if you want to check it out. But at this point, you might be wondering how to check which type of account you're using and how you can switch. Well, first off, if you're setting up a new computer and you want to skip the forced Microsoft account sign-in, like you can see on screen now, all you need to do is press Shift and F10 or Shift and the function key and F10. And the function key you can usually find at the bottom left of the keyboard next to the Control and Windows and Alt key. That's going to open up the command prompt. Then you can type the following command as you see on screen now, and then press Enter, and that'll give you the option of creating a local account. I've made a dedicated video about this, which I'll also link in the description of this video. But if you already have your computer set up and you want to check which type of account you're using, follow these steps. Just right-click on the Start button, select Settings, and then Accounts. At the top here, you'll see whether it's a local account or a Microsoft account. Usually, if there's an email address, it's a Microsoft account. But that isn't always the case. If you're currently using a local account and you want to use a Microsoft account, you'll have the option of signing in with a Microsoft account here. But if it's a Microsoft account and you want to switch to a local account, you'll have to click on the Your Info option here. Inside of the Your Info section, under the account settings section, you'll find this option that says sign in with a local account instead. And if you click on that, then you can just follow the prompts like I'm doing on screen now to get that Microsoft account converted to a local account. It might sign you out of the account and then prompt you to log back in, but then from this point on, you'll always be logging in with a local account. Now, the type of account you should use depends on the use case of your computer. For me, a local account is better because I have more control over my computer, but I still have the benefit of signing into individual Microsoft apps with a Microsoft account if I need to. Now, obviously, this entire video is just based on my opinion and the experiences I've had, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on this whole Microsoft account thing in the comments section below. But with all of that being said, I hope you got some sort of value out of this video. If you want to support the channel financially, check out the PayPal link in the description, consider becoming a YouTube member, or if you're interested in Proton Drive, you can get it from the affiliate link in the description below. But as always, I want to give a special shout out to all of my YouTube members. Your support means a lot to me, and I'll talk to all of you guys soon.